Hello, Aquano here, and today we're back with the Orbment guide. I promised you guys showed me a lot of love and support in my previous Orbment video, so we did like a general Orbment guide where I explained how the Orbment, Sepith, line, quartz mechanic works in this game. And now we are here for the first Orbment setup, Orbment recommendation video for the Chapter 1, the Bose arc, or I think it's Bose, the Bose arc. I play in Japanese, so I don't know how it's pronounced in English, honestly. But yeah, so for the Bose arc, we are here. Now, this video will show you guys a build for all characters with all their slots unlocked. So if you don't have the Sepith to unlock all their slots, also if you don't have the Sepith to buy all the quartz that will be shown in this video, well, I recommend to watch my Sepith farming guide video first. Now, don't watch the one I released before if you have already watched it, or if you haven't, it doesn't matter. The previous one I made was for the prologue. Now, I made another one that should be released right before this video, if I didn't mess up. And in this video, I'll show you guys, in that video, I show you how to farm a bunch of Sepith for this chapter. So, if you watch the video, you should have a lot of Sepith. Pretty much as much Sepith as you want. Every fight, you get like 400 Sepith minimum. So, yeah. If you have unlocked all their slots, and if you have the Sepith to buy all the quartz you need, then we can start this video. So here are our 4 party members, and let's start with Estelle. So Estelle is kind of like a jack of all trades. She's not the best at anything, but she can do everything. And because of her morale skill, which is one of the best skills in the game, honestly, it gives you CP regen, strength, and defense 25% for all the party, 3 turns. And the thing is, it's a craft. So unlike other arts, like buffing arts, it is casted immediately. So at the beginning of the fight, you can immediately boost the stats of your entire party, which kind of slots Estelle into the role of a support / sub DPS. So Joshua will be your main physical DPS, and Estelle will be kind of like a support for Joshua, especially on the rest of your party, and will also be a sub DPS. So we are gonna build her accordingly. So the first quartz that she's gonna need is the attack 2 quartz, because she will be she needs to do damage physically. Like, she has her hurricane, she has her S-craft, she needs to be your second source of physical damage. Now, since she's not going to be casting too often, you don't need the cast 2 quartz. You will instead use one of probably the best quartz at this end of the game, the action 2 quartz. Now, if you're not aware of this yet, the speed stat is the best stat in the game. It allows you to play more often, and since she's going to be using a lot of crafts, being able to play more often and cast your crafts immediately is immensely helpful. So you need action 2 as your next quartz. Now, after that, since her ATS stat is already kind of low, you don't want the mine 2, you will take the HP 2. This will allow her to be tankier, and tank hits with a fat 20% HP buff. Since this affects all of your HP, I recommend giving her accessories that increases her max HP, so that this quartz has higher value. Now, in the central piece, you want Topaz Shield, and the reason why is that it is going to give you more earth value, which we'll see why it's good later, but it gives you 2 Mirage. 2 Mirage is pretty good. It's pretty good because our next quartz will be well, you have 2 choices. Either you go for hit 2, which is good if you're going full physical build, but I recommend going for EP cut 2 instead, and this will allow you to cast Latir. Now, hit 2 also allows you to cast Latir, but EP cut 2 allows you to cast Latir at a lower EP rate, and it also gives you one Mirage. Now, this 1 Mirage coupled with the Topaz Shield 2 Mirage will give you access to Chaos Brand. Chaos Brand is a very, very good spell that has a very high chance to confuse the enemy. Let's see right here. It is a 90% to confuse and poison the enemy, and it resists it reduces both of their defenses and their speed, which are pretty much one of the best stats to debuff. It is an insanely good skill, and confusion makes it so the enemies attack each other. So it is an insanely good support skill. And since she will be your support, this is pretty good. For the last slot, you have many choices. If you're facing a boss that has a lot of magic damage, you can give her Art Defense 2. But in general, I highly recommend Defense 2 because it gives a good 10% defense, which coupled with the HP 2 makes her a wall to stand on the field, support your enemies, revive them, give them items whenever they need it to. So she's kind of like a tank slash secondary DPS slash support with her morale skill and the Chaos brand. Again, a small reminder, this is my take. This is what I call a recommendation. I wouldn't dare to say this is the best build. If you think you know what's the best build, then definitely share it in the comments. But, I don't dare say this is the best build. This is just the build that worked for me on Nightmare difficulty. And I'm here to recommend it to you guys. So yeah, again, don't get mad at me in the comments because this is not the best build. Again, I'm sure there is a better build. But I am confident in saying this is an extremely good build that will work for you no matter the difficulty you're playing on. Now, let's move on to Joshua. Now, for Joshua, there is one orbment, one quartz, or should I say, one quartz that is obvious to put on him, and that is one quartz we will all put on Joshua, and that is the Action 2 Orbment. Like I said, the Action 2 quartz is probably the best quartz at this stage of the game because speed is the best stat. Now, for the second time slot that you are required to fill, Joshua is forced to have 2 time quartz at all time. You have 2 options, Cast 2 or Blind Blade. I am not casting with my Joshua that often. I am mostly using physical crafts and attacks. So I put Blind Blade because a 50% chance to inflict blind can be good. A physically attacking boss being blinded is game-changing because they will miss most of their attacks. Now, one other quartz that have the obvious choice, I don't think you needed a guide for this, is the Attack 2. Attack 2 is mandatory for every single physical DPS. Well, an Attack quartz is mandatory. Later you'll get Attack 3, but an Attack 4. Actually, is Attack 4 in this game or is there the next game? I don't remember. But anyways, you need an Attack quartz for every single character, every single physically attacking character, and this is why this is our third quartz. Now, half of the slots are filled up. Which ones do you want next? Another kind of like obvious choice for me is the Hit 2. This is the one I recommended in the previous video for the prologue, and it's still extremely good. Now, I was talking about Hit 1. Hit 2 is even better. 80% accuracy is crazy. It allows you to consistently hit your physical attacks, and 20 strength is godsend. It allows you to do even more damage. Now, for this slot, this is my personal choice. I really like having high crit rate on my physical DPS because achieving a crit means you get a chain attack, and they're gonna attack more often because they don't need time to cast, so they have more chance to crit. I love crit. Also, this being in the same line as Attack 2 unlocks Firebolt EX, which only requires 4. This is S damage and a circle, so it is AoE. Even though the AoE is small, it's still AoE. Pretty good skill. Having an S level spell, just in case, can be good because Joshua does have a respectable ATS stat. Even though you're not investing in it at all, he still have a pretty good ATS stat. So if you want to use his EP for something, since he's not really gonna cast that often, you can use it to cast 2 Firebolt EXs. Now, for the last slot, you have 2 choices. Either you go for HP 2 or you go for Defense 2. So it depends on your team. If you're following my guide to the T, I recommend an HP 2 because Estelle already has a lot of earth damage. Same thing for the other 2. We'll see later. But I just prefer having higher HP That's just me, but you can definitely use defense 2 as well. This is just like an extra thing to throw on if just to make him tankier. So this is a good setup for Joshua, but you can modify it a little bit to unlock one of the best, if not the best, arts in the game. That is Clock Up EX. Clock Up EX requires a lot of SP, but you can I think it's EP. Yeah, a lot of EP, but you can cast it at least like 3 times during the battle, and it gives you quick speed and move. 2 arrows, which means 50% speed and movement. It is crazy for 5 turns. Like I said, speed is the best stat in the game. Boosting it by 50% means you act 50% more often. It is just crazy, and obviously it cures all your stat debuffs. But yes, Clock Up EX is one of the best spells in the game. Now, the other party members will have access to it, but having more people with Clock Up EX is just good in general. So we are going to replace Blind Blade by Cast 2. Cast 2 will give us an extra time, which is necessary to get Clock Up EX, and it will give us an extra space, which together will give us access to Clock Up EX. You can see it over there. So yes, this would be the ideal build for Joshua. He's kind of like a physical attacker who uses his EP to cast Clock Up EX on himself to speed himself up, and then unleash an insane amount of physical damage multiple times very fast. Now let's talk about our sexy Onesan Scherazard. Now I pronounce it in Japanese, but I think it's probably Scherazard or something like that in English. I don't know. But now Scherazard is your second character who is locked to 2 mandatory slots of a certain elements. Like I said in our previous Orbment video, every single party member is locked to at least 1 Orbment, 1 quartz of a certain element. But since there are 7 elements in the game, Estelle is the only one who is not linked to any elements. She can equip anything she wants. Scherazard is linked to the wind elements, and that means you need 2 of them. So you have access to Emerald Shield, Sleep Blade, Evade 2, or Defense 2. I recommend our Defense 2 in this slot, and I recommend Emerald Shield specifically on this slot. Now the reason why I want Emerald Shield on this slot, not the other one, is because this one is the central slot. It is linked to this thing, and the 2 Mirage allows her to, with Mind 2. You need Mind 2 because she is gonna be one of your 2 kind of like caster. So Olivier and Scherazard play the role of more of a magic dealers, and then Estelle and Joshua primarily physically attack, but also have some arts. So that means she absolutely needs Mind 2. And putting Mind 2 in this slot doesn't interfere with the setup we want on the second line, and coupled with the secondary 2 space that Emerald Shield gives you, it gives you access to Latier. Latier means Scherazard can be your healer. And she will be healing a lot because Olivier has a higher ATS, which means he's gonna want to cast offensive magic more often than her. So you will find yourself healing a lot on her. But she can do an insane amount of damage with Aerostorm, which she can easily unlock because of her 2 mandatory wind slots. So she's always gonna have access to Aerostorm. Now how to have access to Aerostorm? Easy. Give her cast 2 here, since she's gonna be casting often. This is an obvious choice. And in here you want an EP cut 2 to make sure she can cast as many spells as possible. And she already has access to Aerostorm, so she can heal. She has access to Aerostorm, and she has access to Clock Up EX. Clock Up EX is crazy because on the turns where she doesn't need to heal, and if you're not in a position where Aerostorm is that good because you're fighting maybe a single target enemy, using Clock Up X on other characters or on yourself can be very beneficial. So Clock Up EX, very, very good. Now for her last slot, what do you want on her last slot? So you have multiple choices. Again, the regular Defense 2 can be good. Here, HP 2 is also good, but I do recommend Defense 2 over HP 2 because it gives her access to Earth damage, and giving one of your when your second best magical attacker, giving her access to another source of magic damage, another type of magic damage can be good. For example, if a boss is weak to Earth, you'll be happy to have more than one character with a strong magic attack and access to Earth damage. So Defense 2 definitely works. It also gives her access to Earth Guard, which she can cast at the beginning of the battle. This is my definite choice for one reason, and that is because of Earthguard. Earthguard gives your entire party a shield on top of their max HP, which makes sure you don't get one shot. If you're playing on Nightmare, this is a blessing, because what you're gonna do is that you're gonna start every single battle with the same setup. You're gonna start the battle by casting Morale on with Estelle, and by casting Earthguard with Scherazard or whoever. This way, you start the battle with a defense buff, attack buff, CP regen, and a big shield. Now, the reason why Estelle is not the one, that's why I don't want her to cast Earthguard. I meant her more of like a physical DPS, because I'm not a caster, because she is gonna be casting Morale instead, and you want both Morale and Earthguard at the beginning of the battle. So I think, honestly, this is one of the builds I would argue is the best build for Scherazard in Chapter 1 in both, in case, you know, unless I have missed way better quartz somewhere from like a reward or something. But yeah, this setup on Scherazard is very, very good. I highly recommend you to copy it exactly. The only bad thing about this setup is that for a healer, not having access to like Curia and Thelas can be a bit unfortunate, because that means you cannot heal statuses in AoE and you cannot revive your allies. But we can remedy that with the next party member. Now it's time to talk about our last party member, Olivier. Now Olivier is here to complement Scherazard. Scherazard is one of our 2 magical attacker, but because she is locked to, she has to equip 2 wind quartz, it does limit her options a little bit, because ideally she would equip 1, but having 2 is good because she does get Aerostorm. But here Olivier has to complement what she lacks. Now this is the only character where I would change his build depending on if you're fighting a boss or not, because that one change can make him either a lot more flexible or a lot better in very hard fights. So let's first talk about the obvious choice, EP2 on his Central. MP2, I'm not a big fan of MP2, I ain't gonna lie, only 60% chance, only 2 Mirage. It doesn't have too much to offer. You have way better options in general. It doesn't matter if you're looking for Mirage Quartz in general, but you've seen, I haven't equipped MP2 on any character. I don't think is that good of a Quartz. But EP2 here is the obvious choice. Now the other obvious choice here, just before I talk about this, for Olivier and the other party member that has only 1 line, they are the only characters that the placement of the quartz does not matter as long as you're following the elemental requirements. So here EP2 is the only one that has to go in the central slot, but for the other ones, well, it doesn't matter. You can put them anywhere. So, you know, when you see my placements, you can put your own. Anyways, this one is the second obvious one. It is Mind 2 because he is a caster. He is the arts user. So Mind 2 is an obvious choice. 10% is very, very huge. The more ATS you have on him, the more value this 10% has. After that, another obvious choice. You want EP Cut 2. This is, you know, brain dead choice. This is a magical caster. EP Cut 2, EP2, Mind 2. Those are like the 3 quartz, actually 4 quartz. Let me equip the next one, the next obvious choice, and that is Cast 2. These 4 kind of quartz, you want them on Olivier till the end of the game. The only things are gonna change are the 2 other slots. But you know, later you're gonna get EP Cut 3, Mind 3, EP3, and I don't think you get Cast 3. I think it's only Cast 2. But regardless, even if you do, you always want Cast, EP, Mind, EP Cut. These 4 are mandatory on Olivier. And on Scherazard too, if you want. Like, besides her 2 wins, these 4 mandatory. Now, let's talk about the 2 that are not as obvious. I want Arts Defense 2. Now, you want either Evade 2, Art Defense 2, or Emerald Shield. Now, or Sleep Blade, I guess. Sleep Blade is not too good. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because you want an elemental value of 2 wind. I'm gonna say soon why, but let's talk about the best choice. So Emerald Shield will giving her to Scherazard for obvious reasons. She needs 2 wind, and this allows her to get 2 Mirage pretty easily. Well, 2 space. Now, Sleepblade. Sleepblade is not too bad, but most of the time, he will be casting arts, so something that procs on attacks and crafts is not too good with him. So you have two good choices, Evade 2 or our Defense 2. Evade 2 is good, but it's a 6% evasion. It's not as consistent as a 10% boost to your magic defense. It is pretty good, so I recommend our Defense 2. Now, the reason why you want 2 wind of elemental value, simple, it's because you want to unlock Latira. Latira is going to be your better heal, and at later stages of the game, it will be pretty much mandatory. Now, in stage 1, in chapter 1 in the boss arc, you can get away with Latira, but Latira does not hurt. This 2 elemental value of wind also gives him access to Sylvan Guard, and just having a wind quartz gives him access to Earth Strike. If there's an enemy that is weak to wind, having your main caster have access to wind damage is going to be very good. Now, the last option is where I hesitate. On one hand, you really do want HP 2. Look at what it gives you. Look at what it unlocks. Just adding 2 more water gives him Tira, the stronger single target heal. Latira, the stronger AoE heal. Thelis, the revive skill, which we don't have on any other party member. Blue Impact, which is the stronger water skill, which allows him to hit way harder. And since he has the highest ATS stat, this will be very important. And then La Curia, which is a godsend skill. If you have 2 or more characters that are inflicted with status ailments, you could use La Curia, AoE heal them all, and this has very low delay, so you can almost instantly cure your entire party. So yeah, this would be the perfect thing. If you are fighting, if you're just like going on in the story and you're not really fighting any tough fights, and especially if you need more elemental coverage, because this kind of skips 2 of the main elements, which are earth and fire, then you can replace HP 2 with a very convenient quartz called Ruby Shield. Ruby Shield has 2 earth, 2 fire. Look at this. It gives him access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new spells, which is crazy. So yes, use Ruby Shields for easier fights, and if you're having a tougher fights in which you think like you need Latira or you need Thelis and La Curia, then obviously use HP 2 like we just talked about. So yes, that's it for Olivier Lenheim. Thank you guys for watching the entire video. If you want more guides like these, make sure to subscribe. I already made like 3 trails guide. I'll be making a bunch more on this game because I'm in love with this game. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the original game. Now, like I said, I'm not pretending like these are the absolute best build. I'm sure there's gonna be like a Trails veteran who's been playing Trails for a decade who's gonna go in the comments and be like, actually, you should do this. Yes, there's probably better builds, but these are absolutely good recommendations, and I have tested them, used them to clear this chapter on the Nightmare difficulty. They work wonders. So yes, and if you don't, like I said, if you don't have the Sepith necessary to do all of this, get the slots opened, get your necessary quartz to equip them, then make sure to watch the the video that's right below me. I think, if I did the editing right, it should be right below me. The video to farm Sepith in chapter 1. I'll be doing a video like that for every chapter. And if you're not sure, if you're not understanding, if you don't really understand how this whole Orbment, line, quartz, Sepith thing works, make sure to watch my complete Orbment guide that I uploaded a couple days ago. That video kind of exploded. Thanks a lot for those who've watched it. It means a lot. And yeah, look forward to my future guides. It was Aquano. See you guys next time. Peace.